Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today's video we're gonna check out two brand new ETFs that Global X has launched recently on November 7th. The Global X Russell 2000 Index ETF, RSSX. That is the stock symbol, and by the way, they also have a .U version in case you want to buy it and sell it in American dollars and USD currency. You have RSSX.U, and they also came out with a covered call version. So the Global X Russell 2000 Covered Call ETF, stock symbol RSCC. So what is the Russell 2000 Index? So like the name says, this is going to have 2,000 companies, and the Russell 2000, in case you didn't know, typically covers or encompasses the smaller cap companies in the US. So I found this picture, which I thought was very good to show you what exactly the Russell 2000 Index is. So in case you didn't know, there's actually a Russell 3000, a Russell 1000, and a Russell 2000. So what does this mean? Well, the Russell 3000, think of it like 3,000 of the top market cap weighted companies in the US. So if you think of maybe the S&P 500, that's a top 500. So the S&P 500 would pretty much be the 500 here, right? The block over here. Then you have the Russell 1000, which is the top 1,000 biggest market cap companies in the Russell 3000. And here's the 2000, which is the 2000 bottom companies of the Russell 3000 index. So that's pretty much why they say it encompasses the small cap segment of the US stock market. And just like it says here, it's really, you get some diversification benefits because the small cap exposure helps diversify an investor's existing large cap holdings, something like the S&P 500, while the broad 2000 stock composition of RSSX helps investors reduce reliance on any single stock. So you're not investing in one stock here, you're actually investing in 2000 stocks, which is pretty incredible. So if we look at the details here, you see there is the management fee of RSSX is 25 basis points, 0.25. We don't have the MER yet because it's a new fund that just came out November 7th. We'll get that after a year. But I just wanted to try to compare it to another maybe Canadian listed, TSX listed Russell 2000 Index ETF. The only one I found is this one here, XSU from iShares. From BlackRock. You see here, it follows the Russell 2000 index as well. But if we go down and look at the management fee, you see that the fee is actually higher. It's actually 10 basis points higher at 35 basis points. So just a point of reference so you could see or evaluate for yourself about this, 25 basis point management fee. So if we look at the holdings now, you'll see, you might get a little confused at the beginning like I did. Global X Russell 2000 ETF, how is it holding this? Well, it turns out that it's holding the Global X provider on the US market ETF. So it's actually, this is referring to this ETF here, RSSL, by also Global X, but on the US side. So that's what it actually holds. So if we look at what RSSL holds, which is the Global X Russell 2000 Index on the US side, you scroll down, you could actually see, if you're curious, all 2,000 companies that you're getting with the Russell 2000 Index. And you see the actual percentages. The highest percentage company right now is this one here, and it only makes up 0.58% of the index. So this is what happens when you have so many companies, access to so many companies. So great diversification, of course. Like it said, no reliance on any single one stock. You actually get exposure to 2,000 stocks. What's very interesting is the sector breakdown of the Russell 2000. This is where you'll see it's a bit different from the S&P 500, for example. The top three sectors, technology is not in there. It's healthcare, financials. We know that healthcare and financials make up about 12 or 13% each of the S&P 500. So you're getting more healthcare and financials exposure here, with also quite a bit of exposure to industrial stocks as well. Technology is still there though at 14.5, and of course a bunch of other sectors because this is very diversified. So that's pretty interesting. And you might have noticed, if you're following the news or you follow stock market news, that there's been a lot of buzz surrounding small cap stocks or the Russell 2000 index. And this is because of Trump's win, presidential win. He's going to be the next U.S. president. And there's a couple of articles here. I'll put these 3 articles in the video description below in case you're curious about reading them. And it talks about how a Trump win can really help small cap stocks, which are the ones included in the in the Russell 2000 index. So, and basically it's for 3 reasons. It's because Trump actually favors a couple of things here. We're talking about higher tariffs, lower tax rate, interest rates, and lighter regulation. So these 3 things might help, or typically help, small cap stocks, because smaller companies typically have higher debt ratios. So it's obvious why interest rate reduction or cuts would help them. Lighter regulation, so people are it's just good for everybody, typically good for corporations in general. Higher tariffs from other countries, well, this might encourage or could encourage people to buy from America, and these are American companies. So it also goes on to talk a little bit about the financial sector. So unlike Canada, where there's a handful of major banks, in the US there's a lot of smaller banks. So less regulation could help with mergers and acquisitions. It could help these smaller banks as well. So et cetera, et cetera. So I'll let you guys read it if you feel like looking into it. Again, I'll put the links in the video description below. So RSSX, if you want to add some small cap growth to your existing large cap assets that you own, it could be a pretty good addition. And of course, there's the covered call version of RSSX as well, RSCC. So this one has a management fee of 65 basis points, pretty much in line your standard covered call ETF management fee. Of course, it's going to be higher than the index fund because they got to write covered calls. It takes a lot more work to manage. They actually declared their first distribution. They're going to be monthly distributions, by the way. First one came out at 21 cents a share, so you could get an idea for what kind of income you're going to get. And another thing I want to point out, everyone, is that they added the Russell 2000 to a lot of their asset allocation ETFs. So since this channel is focused on income, let's talk about the income ETFs first. So you guys know that Global X has EQCC and EQCL, which is EQCL is 25% leverage version of EQCC, basically. And EQCC, EQCL gives you a combination of some of the very popular indexes to get you some of the top stock or equity exposure all over the world. So this has geographic diversification as well as sector diversification. And if we look at the holdings of EQCC, you actually see that they added a little bit of Russell 2000 exposure here, along, of course, with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing for EQCL, right? Since it's leveraged 25%, you see a little bit more exposure here, 6%, as well as other ones as well. They have GRCC, which is the Global X Growth Asset Allocation Covered Call ETF, which is basically 80% equity, 20% fixed income with covered calls. You see that it's been added here. And even under their growth ETFs, their growth all equity asset allocation ETFs, HEQT and HEQL. HEQL, by the way, is 25% leverage version of HEQT. Very popular type of ETF, right, where you have access to the top indexes all over the world. It's a great all-in-one growth ETF. You see that the Russell 2000 was added as well. You have a 4.75% position right now. Same thing for their other asset allocation ETFs, by the way. You have HGRW, which is 80% equity, 20% fixed income. See, they add a little bit of Russell 2000. Then you have H Balance, which is 60-40, your classic 60-40 split. You see that it has a little bit of Russell 2000 as well. And even their 40-61, the conservative asset allocation ETF, added a little bit of the Russell 2000 index here. So I just wanted to show you as an FYI, guys. So there you have it, RSSX, the Global X Russell 2000 Index ETF, and you got the covered call version with RSCC. So this pretty much completes, I would say, the 3 major US indexes, or 3 of the most popular index ones. You have USCC, and I'm talking about the covered call front here. You have USCC for the S&P 500 covered call ETF. You have QQCC for the NASDAQ 100 covered call ETF, right? And now you have, you have RSCC as well. So you got all three indexes. So another thing, so there's no RSCL yet. There's no leveraged version of RSCC. I would really like to see one. I hope one comes out soon, so it actually could complete the leveraged triumvirate, I guess you could say. So there would be USCL, QQCL, which are the leveraged versions of the S&P and NASDAQ one, and RSCL. I think it would make a great addition, but it's not out yet, everyone. I'm not sure if they're going to come out with it or not, but I would certainly, if Global X is watching, would certainly appreciate and recommend that they do come out with a leveraged version. So hopefully this video was informative for you. Let me know if you have any questions. So this is a great new ETF. Whether you're a growth investor, right, you'll probably choose RSSX, or an income investor, a covered call investor like me, RSCC, another great index fund, index style ETF that covers the small cap segment of the United States, which could do really well with a Trump win, like those articles said, to really diversify your big cap exposure. So thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next time.